Hey guys, Psychic Pictures here. Usually when people talk about anime, they usually think of happy moments as well as great anime. Truth is, most anime have a few sad moments as well. Now, when I talk about sad moments, I'm talking about either one scene, a character, a death, a backstory, a separation, or an entire anime. This is my top 10 saddest anime moments. Note this, I haven't seen all anime out there, and some of the anime you will see I haven't seen in a while, and I haven't seen all the way through, so I might get some details wrong. So, spoilers for the following anime: Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Sonic X, KAZE no STIGMA, Elfen Lied, CLANNAD, Angel Beats, Code Geass, Air, and DEATHNOTE. With that out of the way, let's begin. Number 10. Ayumi from KAZE no STIGMA. Just saying this right now, why are clones treated so badly? They are not all bad, and Ayumi is the perfect example of happiness. She is introduced and makes friends with Kazuma's brother, Rem. Then a bunch of guys come to take Ayumi away so they can sacrifice her because she's a clone and her creators don't see her as human. You heard right. She was created for the sole purpose of dying a few days after her creation. Sounds fun, right? The ritual to sacrifice her to the Yoma is a success, but she is saved just in time by Rem, Kazuma, and Ayano. But the only way to stop the Yoma is by Ayumi sacrificing the rest of her energy to live. Ayumi dies at the end of her arc after saving everyone. Well, Ayumi had a crappy life all the way until her death, and as soon as she finds happiness, it is taken away because she isn't seen as living to her creators. This is sad in so many ways, and it is shocking that KAZE no STIGMA would even do this. I expected her to live, but nope, she dies when happiness comes into her life. Damn. Number 9. Princess Euphemia's death from Code Geass. Now, I haven't seen Code Geass in a while, so I might get some details wrong on this one. Euphemia is the ruler of Japan, or Area 11 as the anime says, but not until a few episodes into the anime. She wants to unite the Japanese and create peace throughout and change the cruelty of Britannia from the inside. She even goes as far as to call upon the leader of the Japanese rebellion, Zero, and make an agreement that both of them can live with. This was a great setup for this character. So good, in fact, that I wish I could have seen her plans work in the end. I haven't finished KAZE no STIGMA. I haven't finished Code Geass, so I don't know if it happened or not. But what happens with her private conversation with Zero tears all fans of the show apart. Zero is Lelouch in disguise, and he makes an agreement that he and Euphemia can deal with. Euphemia didn't back down when Lelouch threatened her, so she also earned Lelouch's respect. Lelouch even says that if he said something like, "kill all the Japanese," that Euphemia would do it no matter what. This is where everything Euphemia worked for dies. Lelouch's power, Geass, has the ability to give anyone any one command. Until that moment, he could control it. But when he gave Euphemia that order, he lost control. Euphemia then goes on a homicide streak, killing everyone that called themselves Japanese. This is so out of character and so out of control that Zero has no other choice but to shoot Euphemia while her guard is down. Damn, I wouldn't want to go that way. Losing my mind to murder what I wanted to protect and then get killed by someone I trusted. Wow. Number 8. L's death from Death Note. I'm saying this right now, I didn't like L. To me, he just seemed like a more closed-off version of me. Not going into detail about that, but long story short, I'm very similar to him, and that bothers me personally. Anyway, L is trying to catch Kira, which is Light, and was close to finding out, but Light outsmarted him. They catch a third Kira and obtain a Death Note from him, a book with the ability to kill anyone whose name is written in it. L thinks there is more than just the Kira that they caught. And Light subtly gives L the idea that Misa, the second Kira, was a Kira as well. This causes Misa's original Shinigami, Rem, to kill Watari, L's #1 assistant, and a few seconds later, L himself. As L is about to die, he figures out that Light was Kira all along. This death is on this list because it was a fight between L and Light up until that point. Sometimes L would win, and other times Light would win. It was a constant battle that people loved, and were all crushed by this death. I originally didn't want to put this death on here, but after thinking it over again, this death is the biggest impact on the last third of the show. It is referenced numerous times, and I loved the last third, as much as the rest of the show because of it. Well played, creators. Number 7. Cosmo's death from Sonic X. Much like Ayumi from KAZE no STIGMA, Cosmo's death shouldn't have happened. Throughout the 3rd season of Sonic X, you see her as a nice, innocent girl that wants to live life with her friends. When the bad guys of Season 3, the Metarex, are near completion with their plan of eliminating everything but plant life from the universe, Cosmo steps in. She restrains the Metarex and tells Tails to fire a cannon powered by not only the Master Emerald, but Super Sonic and Super Shadow as the bullets. In the English dub, Tails refuses and remembers all the memories that he had with Cosmo. Cosmo pleads with him to fire, even though it was clear through the show that they wanted to be boyfriend and girlfriend. Tails then fires the cannon and obliterates the Metarex and Cosmo. Sonic then gives Tails the only thing he could find of Cosmo, a single seed. Now, the real reason this is on here is the Japanese dub. Tails refuses to fire the cannon. Cosmo pleads with him to fire, and Tails says two things that are heartbreaking in this scene. He says, "I don't want to kill you," and "I love you." Yes, he says he loves Cosmo. You can see it throughout the season, but it wasn't more known until then, as he covers up the button that would fire the cannon. That reaction is amazing. Watching this scene for the first time, I was amazed and really sad at this scene. At that moment, Tails didn't care what happened. He wouldn't kill a friend. Cosmo then explains that if he fires, he will spread her seeds throughout the universe and give life back to the planets that the Metarex pretty much sucked the life out of. Tails knows the right thing, and he fires the cannon. He even looks at the shot thinking about what he did and calls out to Cosmo right as she dies. Every time I see this scene, it breaks my heart. It also begs the question, would you kill someone that you loved with all your heart if it would benefit the entire world? Would you be able to go through with it? Number 6. Misuzu from Air. This girl just cannot catch a break. Here is the story of Air. Watch the happy-go-lucky girl Misuzu slowly die while having all the happiness drained from her. Sounds fun, right? Misuzu is a great character, one of my favorites in anime. But to see this happen to her is heartbreaking. It's just so sad to see someone so happy go from happy to not being able to walk, finding true happiness, and then dying. Another plot point in Air is that her aunt is taking care of her. Misuzu's aunt is a workaholic and, at home at least, a drunk. This character then discovers that Misuzu is the happiness in her life, and eventually adopts Misuzu as her own daughter. Misuzu's aunt then goes to the beach with Misuzu, and at Misuzu's request, even though at this point Misuzu is in a wheelchair. At this moment, Misuzu collapses on the way and dies in her aunt's arms. This scene is one of KE's best. KE is the company responsible for Air, CLANNAD, Angel Beats, Canon, and lots of other anime. Misuzu's aunt is torn apart by Misuzu's death. And we don't know what happens next because this is where the anime ends. I haven't seen the 2 OVAs for this, but this ending is perfect for a drama. Misuzu is a great character, and I'm at least glad she kept smiling even as she died. Number 5. Arbok and Weezing's release from Pokemon. From the episode A Poached Ego. This is one of the saddest scenes in Pokemon. I could have chosen tons of scenes from this anime and its movies. Some examples are Ash's sacrifice from Mewtwo Strikes Back, Celebi's death from Pokemon Forever, or even Pikachu's goodbye. This one, though, has the most heartbreak ever in Pokemon. We've seen since the beginning of the series the bond Jessie and James had with Arbok and Weezing. In this episode, Jessie, James, and Meowth distract a poacher that had captured lots of Coughing and Ekans. While all of them, including Arbok and Weezing, escape to freedom. Arbok and Weezing don't want to go, but the Ekans and Coughing need leaders to guide and protect them. Jessie and James say to run and not look back. As Arbok and Weezing lead the Ekans and Coughing away, we get a montage of Jessie, James, and Meowth getting beaten up by the poacher's Tyranitar. You see this while Arbok and Weezing hear them suffer and start crying because they know they can't do anything to help. Seeing this all go down just breaks my heart every time I see it. Just seeing the relation build up and end in this horrible way. Releasing the Pokemon would have been sad enough, but this is very dark for Pokemon standards, and is so out of place you can't help but feel sad for Jessie and James. Also, we never see Arbok and Weezing after this. That is harsh. Number 4. Yugi's Soul Taken from Yu-Gi-Oh! I can't remember the episode name for this moment, but It's from the Enter the Dragon series when the Pharaoh faces Raphael for the first time. I also need to explain this. There is a card called the Seal of Orichalcos in this series, and, when played, whoever loses the duel gets their soul taken and harvested to an evil beast, known as the Great Leviathan. The seal is played in this duel, and the Pharaoh loses. But Yugi steps in the nick of time to save the Pharaoh's soul. This in turn has Yugi trapped in the seal. This itself is sad enough, but it gets worse. The one who played the Seal of Orichalcos, an evil card, was not Raphael, but the Pharaoh himself, even though Yugi told him not to. So, the fact that it was the Pharaoh's fault that Yugi is captured is shocking. Everyone is sad, but they have nothing on the Pharaoh. Not only did he lose his best friend to his own fault, but their two souls were pretty much one. He lost half his soul in that fight, and he can no longer sense Yugi's presence. Jeez, that's brutal. Not only that, but this affects the rest of the season. I won't go into these because there are so many to name. This, by far, in my opinion, is the saddest Yu-Gi-Oh! Moment I've seen. Number 3. Angel Beats. All of it. Where do I begin with this? The entire anime is based around teens that feel they were cheated out of life and died too soon. That enough got Angel Beats on this list. But other than that, each character has a really sad and tragic backstory that are just... For this, I'll only talk about 2 backstories. Eurypie, the leader, and Yui, the childish girl. Eurypie was the first to rebel against God. When she was young, her home was invaded and her 3 siblings were hostages. The intruders demanded money, or else they would kill a sibling every 30 minutes. Eurypie can't find any money anywhere, and the police arrive. An hour and 30 minutes later, all of Eurypie's siblings were dead, and that's when Eurypie rebelled against God, asking what did they do to deserve this? No kid should go through something like that. Whew. Next up is Yui. This I may get some details wrong, so I'm sorry if I do. Yui's backstory is that she couldn't move whatsoever. In Angel Beats, Yui wants to do everything that she saw on TV while she was alive. This includes playing guitar, hitting a home run, and many, many more. Yui literally had to rely on everyone else while she was alive. Otanashi helps Yui to do everything that she wanted to do. But then Yui says she wants to get married. Hinata then shows up and explains how he would meet Yui and how their life would be in the real world when they got married. This causes Yui to accept her death and disappear. Yui's face during this scene is heartbreaking to me. Yui has a face of disbelief that Hinata had feelings for her, and that itself makes this scene good. Both these backstories are just 2 things in Angel Beats that made me put it this high on the list. Just watch the show and prepare to cry. Have a box of tissues on standby. Number 2. Lucy's backstory. From Elfen Lied. This is how Lucy became a killer in Elfen Lied. She was teased because of the horns on her head, and was also bullied. Well, bullied more than just the horns on her head. Lucy ends up finding a puppy and befriends it. Not long after that, her bullies found out about the puppy. I also need to mention that this is all in elementary school. When the bullies find out about the puppy, they hold Lucy back while the other bullies beat the puppy to death for fun. This was just torture to Lucy. But Lucy gets so mad that she uses her vectors, which are sharp, long, and invisible arms, to kill all the bullies that were involved with killing the puppy. I'd say her actions are justifiable, but if I remember correctly, it gets worse. Lucy was a friend to the main character, thinks she got betrayed by him, and Lucy murders the main character's sister and father in front of him. That was not justified. All this ended up creating the dark, sinister, and outright evil side of Lucy. Her past is tragic, and has so much of an effect on Lucy that I can't help but feel sad and sorry for her. People that have seen Elfen Lied more than once see a tortured soul that is fighting for her life. Who knew that one event could trigger an entire anime? That puppy did not deserve to die. Now, for what I think is the most obvious number one for this list. Nagisa's death from CLANNAD Afterstory. CLANNAD is an amazing anime for drama, and CLANNAD Afterstory, which is the second season, is even better. I've seen side characters die in shows, but I've only seen main characters die in if the show ends. This death, however, isn't the end of the anime. The entire anime spent so much time building the relation between Tomoya and Nagisa from their first encounter, to restoring the drama club, to meeting Nagisa's family, to them getting married, and then starting a life together. All this build-up happens while Tomoya knows that Nagisa has a weak body. Nagisa says she wants a baby. They both agree to risk it, and after Nagisa gives birth to a beautiful baby girl, she couldn't take the stress on her body and dies. This death has such a deep effect on Tomoya that he has Nagisa's parents take care of his child, and he goes into a deep depression. He also becomes abusive towards drugs, alcohol, and becomes a workaholic. All until the end of the anime, this death is referenced. And it's just so sad if you watch the anime. Anyone who has seen this anime knows how painful this death is to watch. So much is lost here, and it affects Tomoya so much that you have to watch the anime in order to have it make sense. I could have gone with any portion of CLANNAD Afterstory, including the death of Nagisa's child, which completely tears Tomoya apart. But I'd say Nagisa's death had a much bigger impact on the anime and the community. And that was my top 10 saddest anime moments. What anime moments were sad for you guys? Go ahead and comment down below. And please respect each other's opinions. This has been Psychic Pictures, and I'll see you guys next time.